Welcome back to another episode of Uncorked, where we talk about the highs and lows of running a business, where we talk about building personal brands, and where we talk about working with each other without killing each other. But in this episode, we're going to be talking about how we all work together without killing each other. So with that being said, I wanted to introduce you guys to the new face that's on the podcast today. Trish Nazareth, please introduce yourself to the camera, to the audience. Tell them what you do.
Hey y'all, so I am a social media manager. I do absolutely everything and anything, and I help Ange and Kaif with their personal brands.
So basically, Trish is the executive assistant, social media manager, content creator.
She runs us.
She runs us. She basically our boss.
Literally.
But she works full time for us. She does a bunch of different stuff, like I said. And we decided we want to bring her on this episode because today we're talking about building a strong team. So with that being said, Ange, Trish, what are some characteristics of building a strong team? What do you guys think?
You want to go first? You're the guest.
I think you got this
You're
one.
like, absolutely not. Okay. So I think the biggest thing for me is making sure that the team I have, everyone on the team brings something different to the table. And can be trusted. I think those are the two biggest things for me, because I feel like if you have something to offer, you're positive and I can trust you, like we can work together. You don't have to be the best at what you do. You don't have to come with all the skills, but if you're like open and willing to learn and positive, we're good.
Yeah, and going off that, like when I see people that are motivated and committed to doing the work, and they're always kind of looking for opportunity, and in that way give an opportunity, that really makes me know like this is a good member of our team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think we always talk about like strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
In a previous episode, we talked about working with each other. How do we do that? And I think understanding our team's strengths and weaknesses just help us just elevate everything we do, because where Trish needs help on, I come in, and where I need help on, Trish comes in, vice versa. Same thing with you. So understanding strengths and weaknesses is so huge. And then also something that I'm still learning too is just that continuous learning and growth. Like with that being said, like people want to grow, people want to understand the vision and work collaboratively together to make that happen.
And grow as a team. Like I think that's so rewarding. Like individual growth is great, but I think when you're on a team and you see how far you've come together, that's like even more important.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is a question to Trish. In your opinion, what do you think makes our team so strong?
I at least appreciate the feedback and recognition that you guys give, not only myself, but everybody on the team. And I think it really encourages me to do more and like do my best work and continue to do my best work. I remember in the beginning I would like when I first started, I was like, I wonder how good I'm doing right now, or if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys make it fun too. Like even when we do something simple, we'll go out for food after, and it's like, wow, like I want to do good. I want to go to these things so I can like feel that achievement with you guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah, feedback and constructive criticism. So this is to all the leadership people out there. When you guys are doing reviews, when your team members are giving you guys whatever the work is, provide feedback. Everyone wants to learn how to level up, how to grow, how to take their work and make it better. So feedback is always a great thing. And I've seen this, I've done this at Candy Box a bunch. I manage a pretty big team at Candy Box, and every time they present something, every time they do a deck, every time they do a strategy, although it's like client worthy, clients are happy with it, I still make it a point to give some sort of feedback. Same thing with content shoots we do, same thing with any type of work that we do. There's always some sort of feedback so someone can be better the next time they do it. We always talk about optimizations. That's exactly that.
100%.
When we think about, or advice that, hey, when someone else comes onto our team, is there any advice that you give them, like, hey, what is it that they should be doing when joining our team?
Yeah, I think, like, obviously, at the end of the day, you're hired for a reason. So do what you're hired for. It's a great start. But I think that asking questions, and if you're not sure, like, making sure to flag that is a huge piece of the puzzle. I think, like, people feel, especially if they're new to a team, that, like, hey, I can't show weakness. Like, I can't ask questions. And for me, like, it's actually more frustrating to know that someone's struggling and not asking for help versus just asking for help, because now you're delaying your abilities to deliver results and also kind of just suffering in silence versus asking someone else on the team. Like, that's the benefit of the team. You can use everyone to help you and together move forward faster.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
like that's something that I learned after a little bit, whereas like I always wanted to impress you guys and do well, but then I didn't realize like I was wasting time in certain areas because I didn't know how to efficiently use my time. And then Kiefer would sit with me and be like, why are you doing that? And it's like a different relationship because for anybody that doesn't know, he's my brother, so it's a little it's a little bit of a different relationship, but it's still very professional. And he's always showed me how to optimize my time, but now I know, like, even to the littlest things, as soon as I have a question, I'll ask him. And I used to be like, I'm sorry, can I ask you this? Or this might be dumb. And like my favorite thing is that even though he is my brother and like big brothers are bullies for sure, he tells me like, there's no dumb question here. Like everything
There is
you have to
no
know.
dumb question
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I think especially when you're starting out and when you're
Yeah.
new to a team, like, ask the question.
Ask questions. I told Trish this yesterday. I'm like, hey, people make mistakes, but what I want is if someone's going to make a mistake and learn from it. Figure out what was that lesson that you learned from
Yeah.
it. If people are going to be making the same mistake, that's a problem. So if it's someone's making a mistake for the first time, we get it. That happens. And then I always come back on the leadership side. It's like, hey, did I communicate this properly? What can I do next time to make sure that this doesn't happen?
Yeah.
So
And I think too, you kind of touch on something unique about like leading a team. So I think when you lead a team, and like I know a lot of us do this here outside of our kind of like personal brands, but if your team's struggling, like 9 times out of 10, it's because you're not doing something right to set them up for success. And I feel like sometimes leaders, and especially newer leaders, like they forget that piece. They think it's like, oh, I just hired a bad team member, or like, oh, this team is not experienced enough, or this or that. But it's like, no, if you take a second to reflect, like 9 times out of 10, there's something different you could be doing. And I feel like the biggest mistake is leaders sometimes treat every person on the team the same. And that's not the way to go about it, because everyone learns differently. Everyone needs different things. Everyone needs different levels of support. And I think sometimes like that gets missed, especially as teams grow.
talking about teams that grow, what are the best ways to retain great employees?
Free pizza?
Free
I think
Guys,
you do
stop. You know what? This is a message to all leadership, upper level management. Stop buying your team pizza to compensate for things like low pay, terrible benefits.
Bad hours.
Bad hours, work-life flexibility. So my biggest thing here, I asked the question, but I'm also
You're
going to
gonna
answer
answer
it
it.
too,
All right.
is compensation and incentives. If you have a great employee, compensate them well, because they will stay with you. We talk about this at my day job at Candy Box. Like I get compensated well, and I wouldn't even think about moving anywhere. Like even people ask me, and I'm like, hey, listen, I don't even want to hear what the offer is. Why? Because I get taken care of.
Yeah.
So, same
But
thing
I
with your
think
job.
that goes past just the monetary amount. I think that also goes to how you're valued. Like, does your company or your team value your opinions? Do you feel like you're a part of something bigger? Because I think, when times get tough, they always do. At the end of the day, it's a job. Like, it's never going to be fun every single day. But if you feel like you're making a difference and you're valued, obviously being comped as such is a big piece of it, but if you genuinely feel like you're important, you're not thinking about leaving. You're not thinking about going somewhere else. The bad day is just a bad day, and that's
Exactly.
it.
You
And
guys
you're
make me
shake it
feel.
off.
You guys make me feel very valued.
Oh,
So
good.
Trish,
Yeah.
why is it that you haven't decided to move to another
She
job?
already told you we give her free food.
Oh yeah, free food, free pizza.
Oh my god,
We're horrible.
Oh my God, we
We're
do-
hypocrites.
we are what I say.
No.
Not to do.
Oh my god.
No, what you were just talking about being valued, like when it comes to the smallest things, like you guys value me all the time. Like I'll do something I feel like is so simple in my head. I'm like, this is a little bit of common sense, and you're like, wow, how'd you do that? Like I'm so proud. And I don't know, sometimes I'm like, is he just saying this so I can keep doing it? But I realize
We'll
like
never tell.
Yeah, he'll come back to me and ask me not how to do it, but if I could do more of that work, or like little advices or pieces of things, and then I'm like, oh, he actually genuinely meant that I was doing a good
Yeah,
job, and
it's
you
true.
too, you know.
Recognize and reward great work.
Yeah.
With that being said, too, the last thing I wanted to say to this before we wrap this episode up is, you kind of touched base on it a little bit. Is listen to your employees. I think what we do well is I get her involved. I get whoever else involved in like the nitty gritty of stuff. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about problems, and I get them involved so that team members now feel like they have a purpose. They feel like they need to help solve something. So when you guys are working with teams, stop keeping secrets. I really don't think secrets help. I think it brings that barrier up, and
Yeah.
it prevents you from like helping. Remember, no one can do things themselves, so it helps you when you have team members that are aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
Come together and we solve these
I
problems.
think it's just like lay your cards on the table, like you're in this together. That's the whole definition of a team. Like everyone has their role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it opens up like people feeling comfortable to communicate as well.
Totally. Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
In
with that being
spirit
said,
of
I know
teamwork.
we wanted to keep this episode a little shorter. I think the biggest part was how do we build teams. We thought we would bring Trisha in here to kind of show as well how she feels, what her thoughts are, things like that. So you're gonna be seeing way more of her. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching another episode of Uncorked. You want to do the
Like,
outro?
Comment if you want Trish back. Make sure we know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want her back.
And thanks, guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Trish has no drink, but cheers to you too.
Cheers.